And we're live. What is up? What is up, my Dark Horse friends and family? Here we are coming at you live once again with another episode of the Dark Horse Entrepreneur. And today we're going to talk about who are your co-pilots? Are they your Who Unto crew or are they your CantDo crew? And okay, I know what a co-pilot is, Tracy. What the hell is a Who Unto crew? Who Unto crew, and I'll be honest, I didn't come up with this idea. This started way back in 1727 with my man Benjamin Franklin, where he convinced 12 of his friends to form a club really dedicated to the mutual improvement of everyone in the club. And these guys in this club, they came from this diverse set of occupations and backgrounds of all different types. I think there was a cabinet maker and a cobbler and a clerk, right? So he's pulled all these folks together because they had a diverse set of skills. They came from diverse areas, but they all had this one thing in common. They had this spirit of inquiry. They questioned, right? They desired to learn, and they wanted to improve themselves, and they wanted to improve their community. And so your Who Unto crew is going to be based off this same principle. And what was funny is I think it's interesting that the Who Unto crew, the word Who Unto, is actually formed from the word junta, right? Which is, I'm going to look at my notes here, right here, defined as a group of people who have taken power, government by army or strictocracy. Right? It's a group of people dedicated to take control of their lives by taking back the power of themselves. And so forming your Who Unto crew is going to help you take back and actually gain a power in yourself and in the group that you're a part of. And you actually get this superpower. So let's say you have a superpower of oration, and someone else has a superpower of ideation, someone else has a superpower of finance. And when you pull all these people together, right, you create this unified body that their superpowers multiply each other. And here's what I mean by that. Take, for example, you come up with a brainstorming exercise or a puzzle. Let's go over a brainstorming exercise. How many things can you do with, I don't have anything with me. What I used to do in my presentations, I didn't bring a cup with me to show you. But you take a paper cup and you put it on the table in front of each one of the participants. How many things can you do with this paper cup? Now here's what I want you to do, everybody. I want you to sit down with your piece of paper in front of you and your cup and put down as many ideas as you can come up with on your piece of paper. There's no talking to each other. This is just you and your paper and that cup. Give them about 10 minutes, right? And then go around and then you don't want to go around and give away anything yet. But what you want to do next is you want to have them form into groups of 4 to 6 people, right? And go back with the same question. Now, mind you, they've already come up with some answers, but what they'll find is a number of the answers they'll all have in unison. But because of different life experiences and different work experiences and different modalities and ways of thinking, someone is going to have this unique idea that none of the other folks, each one of them would probably have an idea that none of the others had come up with, right? So now they've taken, maybe I as an individual came up with 10, and you as an individual came up with 10, but 2 or 3 of those were different. So now we've got 13, and then the third person and the fourth person, now we've got 2 and 3 and 4, now we've got 20. And because of all these ideations that are going around, it made me think of something new, which makes you think of something new. Next thing you know, you got 30. So you can see what I mean by the power of the individual skill sets multiplying each other and just growing exponentially. This is the power of having a Who Unto crew, of a number of folks that you can personally pick to come together to share ideas and discuss, right? How you each can help each other, how you can all raise that level. Remember, as the water rises, all boats go together. And when you pick these folks, right, you want to pick folks that you trust, right? You don't want anybody you don't trust. If you think for a second they might not be a good fit, then stop. And I think the other example I want to give is, as we step into the entrepreneurial fog, we can only see so far in front of us, right? That's the whole nature of fog. You can only see so far in front of you. But maybe the person that you pick has been 10 steps ahead of you. So now they don't need to see in the fog because they know what's ahead of you. So they can reach back, take you by the hand, take you by the shoulder, take you by the hair, whatever you prefer, grab you by the scruff of the neck, and they can pull you to where they're at, right? Through the fog. And maybe there are parts of the fog to the right and to the left that you've experienced because of who you are and what you've done. And you can keep them, oh, hey, let's go that way because you've been that way. But don't go this way because I've been there and that's not a good way to go, right? So now you've saved them, even though you may not be as experienced. And you're not 10 steps ahead. You've been one step to the right or one step to the left. So now you're giving that value to them. All right. So enough about I think you get the premise of who they are and what they're doing and everything. But I think what you want to do is when you pick these folks, you want to bring them together, and you can do this live, you can do this via Zoom calls, whatever method works for you. But then when you get them together, especially if you're the one forming the group, buy them some journals. Right? You got 4 or 5 groups. That's an easy outlay. But get together, lay the journals down, and set some baselines. And I think the one baseline, right? This is the one crucial baseline for your Who On To crew is no negativity. Right? You can voice opposition without being negative. So someone comes up with an idea and you say, oh my goodness, I've done that. And here's what I experienced. And that experience was negative. You're not being negative in sharing that experience. You're sharing your experience, which was negative, right? It's a fine line right there. You're not saying don't do that. You're saying I've done that and here's my experience. So now the conversation could go, well, how do we keep that negativity from happening again? Or is it just not possible? All right, you see what I'm saying? It can kind of go in that way. Otherwise, the conversations are unrestricted, right? You want to foster as much communication as possible. And then you just don't want that negative feedback. That's the only limiter I want to put in there. And then what you want to do is you want to have, when you have these meetings, and these meetings can be done in an hour and a half, it can be done over a lunchtime. But the idea is when you come together, you're going to have a section where everyone's like, here's the thing I'm trying to accomplish, and gives everyone an opportunity to brainstorm and share their input and give ideas. So if you have a problem that you're facing in your marketing or in your product launch or whatever, here's my problem. Be very specific, and you can even share it ahead of time so the folks can grab the ideas and put them together. So when they come to the meeting, right, you're not sharing in the communication of the problem, you're sharing in the communication of the ideas and solutions. Right, and then they all come together with their ideas, and they start sharing, which again, like I mentioned earlier, generates more ideas. Like, so wow, I hadn't thought of that. If you combine my idea and your idea, you get something all new and even more powerful. Again, remember that multiplication of ideas that come together. And then I would have the folks, and this is what I've done in the past, someone is going to share some new bit of knowledge, right? So if you say you have a group of 4, and I think 6 is tops, you get past that, no one has enough time to share their concerns or their needs, and they're not getting enough. But if you have 4, it works out really well because it's like once a month they get to give a presentation of some new skill set or some new knowledge that they've gained, and they bring that knowledge to you. So now you've all gained it together. Whether you're interested in it or not is irrelevant. New knowledge fosters new knowledge, right? New awareness, new curiosities. And so listening to that, there you go. So the first section is, again, the problems that are being faced and the ideas to solidify, or to the ideas for solutions, and then a prepared presentation, not dry, like, hey man, I was reading this great article, did a little research on it, here's what I found, bing bang boom. And then they share, and then you give, some feedback on that. Hey, that's really interesting. Well, I'm not sure I can use that yet, but I'm going to table that for another time. Again, this isn't negative. This is just, you're just sharing what you think about it in a positive fashion. And the idea is you rotate each person. That way, everybody's always contributing. And that's key, because if they're contributing, they never feel guilty about extracting, right? And if you're contributing, then you feel good about, I need help. I need to extract. You got to give to get, right? So that's another thing about the Junto crew. Now, the opposite side of your Junto crew is your CantDo crew. Probably be pretty easy to explain that. These are all the folks who are like, you can't do that, right? You're never going to do anything like that. I've tried that, and right? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in explaining a CantDo crew. We know what a CantDo crew is. We can feel it just as I say the words. You can almost feel your chest tightening up, right? Your fingers almost starting to form into fist. If you're driving, it's tightening on the steering wheel. And when I say CantDo crew and tell you what a CantDo crew is, somebody popped into your head. Maybe a couple of somebodies, right? I don't even need to know their names. You know who they are. You felt that stress of having them around. You want to slowly, or as quickly as possible, distance yourself from your CantDo crew, because they will steal your dreams. They will, right? I've seen it happen, experienced it happen. Because here's the deal. Ultimately, nobody's responsible for your life and your goals but you. So you want to foster as much as you can. You want to bring in the people. You want to hand pick. Right? Don't randomly do it. Oh, I just happen to have this person, and I think they're maybe good. No. Sit down and take some time and say, all right, I need a person that's really good at this, that, those things, and these things. Now look around, and if there's no one in your inner circle or in your sphere of influence, go find them. Go find the person that has that superpower that you need to tap. Figure out how you can help them, what it is you have that they need, and then come together and just pull together this little crew of folks. And they don't have to be super good at it, right? They don't need to be the Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels, right? If maybe that's one of the things you need. They could be someone that's 4 steps ahead of you, 5 steps ahead of you. Maybe it's just their superpower. They just think differently about that particular topic. You're like, I don't get it, but it makes perfect sense. Look at someone in accounting. They think differently than I do. I'm a creative, right? So I'll find someone who's good at that, and I'll bring them into my circle. So you handpick these people, right? And then you come together. And how can we help each other raise that water so that all the boats raise together at the same time? So pick your Junto crew. Identify your CantDo crew so that you can start stepping away. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest here, sometimes the member of that CantDo crew might be someone you know really, really well. Sometimes it's you, right? So be careful of that. And sometimes it's a member of the family. Could be a spouse. Could be a sibling, right? And you've got to figure out how to navigate those waters as safely as possible so that you can be everything you need to be to reach that Vista vision that we started talking about in the beginning. All right, what are we chatting about tomorrow here? Which comes from the audience or the product? It's a good question. We're going to chat about it in tomorrow's episode. All right, till tomorrow, think successfully, take action. Peace.